back.
Every time I walk out that door, every time I interact with anybody new, my purpose is to help change.
It's time to celebrate life. If you know that you're in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know you want better for your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you have what it takes to be in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you are not just trying to be good for you, but for those around you, it's time to stand up. As a matter of fact, look to the person to your left and tell them you are enough.
I want to help you change, and just like you change, every time I interact with somebody, they help me change. It's no different than if I met an individual and they had 4 quarters and they needed change, or if I had $1 and they had 4 quarters, I need to change. We can swap the money. The value is still the same. They still got $1, I still got $1, but we both exchange something, and it was a change for both of us. So every time I walk out that door, I inspire to help change lives just as much as lives have changed me.
Y'all been listening to the wrong people, watching the wrong things all your life, and it's time to put to rest all those negative thoughts, because you are enough. It's time to put to rest that self-doubt, because you are enough. It is time to get rid of that negative energy, because you are enough. It is time to stop listening to people that don't have the best interests of you in your life, because you are enough. So let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to understand that you are the person that's in charge of your life. Everything that you have inside of you to be who you're supposed to be in life. You have a destiny, and that destiny can only be accomplished through you, by you, and only you, with the help of God. When you realize that you are the person you are, because you're not a carbon copy, there's only one you. They try to put you in a box. Society tries to put you in a box, but you can't be in a box. How can you be in a box when there's only one you? But then they tell you, think outside the box. What I'm trying to get you to understand is there is no box.
I want to pass on the things that I have to the generations behind me. By the time it's time for me to get called home and go to the grave, I want to be empty. I believe in bankrupting the cemetery, so I can't take this knowledge with me, because the cemetery is already full of brilliant ideas and unwritten books and innovative ideas. I can't take this with me, so I'm trying to leave it all here as Billy Graham Jr. to the next generation so somebody else can carry it on. What's up, and welcome back. Man, have I missed y'all. But I must say, a lot of things have been going on, made a lot of changes in life, and hey, my family and I, we're back in the United States. We're back on United States time, so I can stay up to date with the people that are coming on this show, with the guests, and then also you coming in and talking to you all in the chat is just amazing, and I'm happy that we are back. But when I say we coming back with some straight fire, the person that we're bringing on today, this young lady, she's doing not just amazing things for her family, but amazing things for others. And I'm talking about in a very, very innovative way. When I found out what she does, I'm like, I can't even hold this person back. I got to let them tell you themselves, because I was like, I didn't even know, for one, this was a possibility. And for two, how do you even pull off what I'm about to let her explain that she does? I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I'm going to let you meet her and let her tell her amazing story and amazing things that she's doing herself. So I bring to you the one, the only, the amazing Lyndsae Peele.
Hello, how are you?
Man, I'm doing amazing, blessed and highly favored as usual. How about you?
Amen. Listen, I'm keeping up with that same energy, blessed and highly favored. I cannot complain. I am here amongst the living, so it is a blessing to be here.
Man, now, before we even get started, and before you even tell people just how amazing of an individual you are, can you tell the world, who is Miss Peele?
Yes. So who am I? Right. All of the things. But I am an award-winning, purpose-driven financial coach and consultant. I joined the financial world per se a number of years ago, starting in the retail banking space, and I've served within every role within the bank. So starting as a part-time teller while I was a student at Howard University, and transitioning from my banking career into full time entrepreneurship, I was a branch manager and business development officer. So I directly supported business owners, boots on the ground, and helping them to find the financial stability that was necessary in order to really grow and establish their businesses. My general lifestyle that I live is really being able to prepare Black and Brown families for the creation of wealth. We talk about generational wealth, but it's more about what are we doing now to be able to obtain generational wealth to pass it down. If we don't develop it, if we don't get it for ourselves first individually, we can't pass it down, right? So my goal is to make more Black and Brown millionaires, and even for some, 100,000aires, so that they can have something to pass down to their family.
Oh, okay. Now, what you just said is not just amazing, but we got to go back because somebody out here is listening. You said ever since your days at Howard University, and you basically walked out and first of all, congrats, Howard University, amazing.
Thank you.
Uh, but we got to know, how does somebody, especially back then at such a young age, like how do you even go that route to say this is what I'm gonna do, like financially? Like obviously that didn't just start. Something had to happen, or you knew somebody, family member. How do you go that route going into college?
So I bumped into it, right? So I was at that time a broadcast journalism major. That's what my bachelor's is in. So I was looking for an internship via a news outlet or radio, something that was paying and that would also give me a reason to stay in DC that particular summer, towards the end of my junior year. And I saw a part-time job. I saw 20 hours as a part-time teller, full benefits. You start immediately with your benefits, maybe after 30 days or so. But I was like, you know what? This is a great time for me to officially start a career where I can have benefits and a 401k, etc. I was already mature in my financial thinking just based on my family. My parents are entrepreneurs. So my dad is a plumber and my mom has been running the business for over 20 years. So, me growing up on the back of a small business also kind of equipped me with that push to learn something that I can take back home. And when I started as a part-time teller, I had no idea that I was going to remain there, but I came in at a location where my entire team was of color. All three leadership roles were Black women, and just seeing the camaraderie, the support at that time. Everybody in the branch were under 40, so everybody was hungry. Everybody kind of wanted in, and we were in DC, right? So the hustle mentality was just different. The love for what we did was different, and I found an opportunity to mesh two worlds that I loved, right? I started to love finance and banking and what money could do for people, but I also love speaking. So I naturally facilitate. I am, an MC host of all things. So I was like, you know what? I could teach financial literacy to my people who need it. Count me in. So after I graduated from Howard, I just stayed in banking, and for 5 consistent years, I got a promotion every single year. Just because of the work, my work ethic and the love and the passion that I have for the work that I was doing. So at the end of 2020, when I was released from my job during the pandemic, I still wanted to do the same work, right? So I'm a very spiritual woman, and it was like, okay, well, what's next? And God really just gave me the name, who I would serve, how I would serve them, within a month. And I established my business and literally just picked up and kept going from there. And last year, we had the honor of winning the 2022 SBA's Financial Services Champion of the Year award, in the state of Maryland. So it was all divine. I can't even take the credit, for my path, because it was not something that I had designed for myself. But it was very much so an act of obedience. and being able to be spiritually aware, to understand, and to say yes to the most uncertain moments in time that honestly led me here.
I love how you said that because so many of us don't realize that it's just basically listening and being that obedient. Like our life is already predetermined.
Yeah.
A lot of us fight it and don't choose to go the way it's predetermined. And some people, let's be honest, they don't believe in that. I understand. I'm not knocking anybody's thoughts, but when you sit there and wonder why some things come easy for some people and hard for the others, and it's like probably because the easy person, they're like following their predetermined path. And I loved what you said about your parents. For one, congrats to them. That is amazing. Most people don't realize, like, when you're doing what you love to do, it might be stressful at times, but it comes naturally. And in your case, somebody's watching you in the event. You, the kid, you're watching your parents, and you picked up a different type of lifestyle versus somebody that watches their parents that struggle and stressing. Because in some instances, not saying that being an entrepreneur is not a big predetermined thing, because everybody's not entrepreneurs. Some people do work 9 to 5s, and that's predetermined. But you see people that fight against those things, and it doesn't work out as well. And for you, you got the training, you got to do the financial thing. And when you said in 2020, when you were let go, you didn't look at it as though like, oh, this is a step back. You looked at it as though this is the direction it's supposed to be going. And you said that led to you starting your business. Now we have to know, what is this business that is so awarded winning? I'm curious. What is this thing that's awarded winning business?
So I am in real life, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I do multiple things. I'm always figuring out how can I serve, the entrepreneurial community of color. And that particular business is a different entity than what you brought me up here originally to speak about. But all of my work is interconnected in some type of way. So that particular company, who is award winning with the Small Business Administration, is Kingdom Vision Consulting. So that firm specifically is a financial services firm that specializes in CEO financial planning. And we do that by focusing on the personal financial aspect, but also the business aspect of entrepreneurs. And we do that by focusing on 5 key areas of finance known as class. So credit worthiness, making sure that our entrepreneurs understand the importance of having amazing personal credit so that they can leverage, the opportunity to establish business credit. We make sure that they have business credit education to get started, to also grow and expand their business. Long-term wealth, making sure that entrepreneurs are thinking about retirement, what happens tomorrow. A lot of times we're only focusing on today. Can we make payroll next week? Do we have enough inventory next month? But we have to think about the future, right? Especially when we think about the amount of senior citizens that we see checking receipts at the store, right? It's not because they
Yeah.
want to, it's because their retirement funds, right? They did not have enough. They did not plan well. And also, you can't depend on Social Security. So you need to make sure that you have your own retirement plan, honestly. Asset protection, that covers a few things. So making sure that you have proper insurance, right? Do you have proper life insurance? If something happens to you today, what happens to your family? And when you're an entrepreneur, you are at risk even more, right? Especially because the mental and emotional stress that comes with that. But also, too, you don't have an employer who has a policy on you, right?
Yes.
Unless you kept it once you left, or if you are a paralelpreneur, still have it, etc. But when you think about most entrepreneurs and most clients that I talk to, a lot of them do not have life insurance. And honestly, we've had enough fish fries. We've seen enough GoFundMe pages to
Yeah.
take care of the final expenses of our family members, our community members. So it's really time to have those planning conversations. Asset protection also covers estate planning. Do you have a trust? Do you have a will? Do you have your power of attorneys, ready to go if something happens to you? Because way too often we've seen it with a lot of large celebrities. where they accumulate this wealth and then it's not protected and it's not passed down properly to their family members. And then now, your property's in probate for over a year or almost a year in some cases. And it's time for us to start having tough conversations so that we can eradicate those barriers around creating generational wealth. If you're not even passing it down properly, then what's the point of all that hard work? Strategic banking relationships, making sure that clients understand the importance of having a relationship with your bank. While we may not always trust them all, we still need them, and they still have the tools and resources that we absolutely need, right? So if you got to know how to use them in a way that can benefit you, and having a business banker, having an advocate who can get to know your business can make a big difference in what the bank is able to provide you. And that last S is strategic asset accumulation. We all know how to accumulate liabilities. We can do that in our sleep. We know how to spend money
Yep.
on things that do not appreciate. You do not have to be taught that. That is innate behavior at this point, right? But it's about, how are we letting our money work for us? Are we using our funds to purchase assets that are going to appreciate over time, that are going to produce a cash flow, for us on a regular monthly or quarterly basis? But are we able to really put our money right in vehicles that will work for us and also your family? So we provide a very holistic approach for our clients in personal and business finances, while making sure that we take care of the whole human first. We focus on, holistic wealth with our clients. So taking care of your mind, body, and soul. We ask those questions, those mental health related questions, because you need the support. And when you think about finances, it's one of the major stressors in families. And
Yes.
you can't do it on your own, because you cap yourself at what you know. And if this is all you know, this is where you're going to stay, right? It's about also empowering people to understand their money mindset, to be able to understand the habits, and to understand the financial traumas, and to really get a full picture of your money story, how it happened, and how it's currently impacting you now, so that you can heal through it, to be able and ready to start actually building tangible wealth.
Yeah. I, I love how you put that, because especially when you look at it from the entrepreneur's point of view. But most people, because we hear about, like you said, those celebrities that passed away, things aren't put into place, set into place. So for many of us, our mindset is we're not at that level. So we really don't have anything, or I don't have that much. So for that person out there, whether it be entrepreneur or somebody that just doesn't know where to put their money at, or just starting out, what's like that buffer range for like how much money you should have, or what point in your life should you start looking at, like, I need this much in insurance, or I need to, most people hear wills, but at what point do you like, okay, I got this much money, I need to think about a trust versus a will? Like, what are those barrier points? Because I think that's what holds a lot of people back.
A lot of times you don't realize what you have until you're actually having a conversation about what you have or what you think you don't have, and then you realize, oh, I actually have a little bit of something. So even, if you're an entrepreneur, you automatically have something to think about, and that is your business. A lot of times we don't think about our businesses as a separate entity, as a separate living and breathing thing that has its own life to it. But that's something in itself that you have to think about. Something happens to you, where's your business going? What do you want to happen to it? Are you going to sell it, or is it just going to dissolve? Do you plan on passing it down to a family member? And do you even have a family member or a child who wants the business, right? So even if you're an entrepreneur and you feel like you don't own a lot of assets, if you have a business, that is something to be concerned about, the livelihood of that business. But again, the issue is that a lot of us are not planning above what we see and feel every day. So most of us aren't even planning or operating businesses in a way that can be sold, or in a way that can put us in a position, right, to do something much bigger than ourselves. So we got to have the conversations, even if you feel like you don't own anything, I don't make a lot of money, you as a person, you're coming to the table with something, even if that's one bank account. That one bank account has something in it, or will have something in it. Even if the smallest of deposits, you don't know how much that can really change the trajectory of someone's life and your family by just being able to pass that down, adding them as a beneficiary, right? Being able to add their name to your will and or to your trust documents. Now, because everybody's situation is different, these tools are not one size fit all. So I definitely would recommend, having a conversation with a financial professional to go over your assets and to go over your liabilities to create what we call a personal financial statement. This personal financial statement really just gives you a full umbrella view of your finances. It has you to list all of your assets, whether they are collectible items, art, etc. Those can be considered as an asset depending on the appraisal value of it. And being able to write down all of your liabilities to see your net worth, to see exactly what it is that you have, but also to being able to see what your name is on, right? Are you a beneficiary from somebody else, right? And what do you want to happen, right? After that person goes away and you receive whatever funds there are available to you, what do you want to have to your lump sum? So it's so many, there's such a need for the conversation to even get started. And then, for you to figure out, okay, what do I have that can be used to be passed down for someone else?
I'm glad you said that because we don't think about that. Like we hear the stories, like we hear about, like, for example, like right now today, if somebody says $10,000, you're like, oh, that's really something I can leave for somebody. Like, but then when you hear the story of like a Master P whose grandfather left him 10,000 and he used it to become billions, like you said it yourself. You never know that amount that might change somebody's life, and we're sitting there because we capped ourselves. The person that you're leaving that beneficiary to, they haven't capped themselves, so they're going to take what you leave in and run with it. So I'm glad you put it that way. But before I even move on past, because somebody that's listening, because of this award-winning business, if somebody needed to contact you for their financial services, like to just like you said, have that conversation, start that conversation, how would they get a hold of you at this service?
Absolutely. So you would reach out via our website or via social media. You both can be found at kingdomvisionconsult.com. That's Kingdom, KINGDOM, Vision, VISION, Consults, CONSULT.com. That is our website. That is our Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Kingdom Vision Consult. We are here to support you. You can also personally follow me on Instagram too at LPO the real deal.
Now, don't worry about it. I'm going to put all that in the description, but I did not want to move on because somebody that's listening might have to leave, might have to run, but they're like, I need that in my life. Now, you did say you were a serial entrepreneur, which if we know what that is. For those that you don't know, think about it like a serial killer, like somebody that did a bunch of bad things. But in terms of entrepreneur, somebody that has a bunch of entrepreneurial businesses and all that. What else outside? Because financing, you think that sounds like it takes up a lot of time, but you found a way to add more to your plate. What are those other serial entrepreneur businesses that you have?
So I mean, I'm also in real estate, so I'm an
I should have
investor.
known.
Um, I work in some areas of development as well. I partner with this company called Hair Development Partners in Baltimore, where we are redeveloping a community currently, building a community park, rehabbing homes, working with the local elementary school to establish home buyer clubs, etc. So I do a lot of work in real estate, and specifically because real estate was important in my family, to just even have being able to have one house and being able to pass that down could make a complete difference in the lives of your lineage. So that message alone, having this one family home that helped to provide coverage for even my nieces and nephews who are growing up in it now, where my brothers grew up in it, right? It tells a story, but it also allows your family to build wealth through appreciation, especially depending on the location of where this real estate is. So love real estate. Always open to first time homebuyer conversations versus investor conversations, because those are two different mindsets to have when you're going into purchase. But also in how to develop, how do we buy back the block for us? How do we take care of our people, right? Because we don't have to always depend on other people to come save us and to provide us resources. We literally have all that we need in our communities, right? Within our networks, within our families, somewhere we have what we need. So really laying the land for more Black developers to, to gain access to the funding to help reestablish these communities that serve our people, take care of our people.
Now, you said a different aspect of real estate that most people don't think about. So we hear about the BRR method, like people going by properties, becoming landlords, or people just looking for four units, like the buy like duplexes, quadplexes, all that. We get that. But you talked about something totally different than that. Like when you said developing communities and working with a developer. Can you give us the insight on that other side of being real estate? Because most people only focused on the one aspect of real estate. Can you dive in just a little bit, telling us about how that part of real estate, because obviously you're doing it, but how did you get involved? How did you even get access to that, and how does it work?
So I was actually pulled in by our CEO, Miss Joanna Jane Bartholomew, who is a developer, by nature. She grew up in development with her father, who's also an entrepreneur, and seeing him develop, their family home and rental properties, et cetera. So she brought me in a couple of years ago. I've been the director of community engagement, so connecting our organization to local organizations, community partners, politicians, et cetera, to get the support that we need to build, but also to establish community programming. So our particular company, we have two parts to the company. So we have a for-profit organization that does the actual rehabbing, the development of the work.
Okay.
So we partner with the city of Baltimore to acquire homes that have been vacant, boarded up, et cetera, causing blight in neighborhoods.
Okay.
And we are able to go through the acquisition process and to develop them as a company, and then we sell them to first-time home buyers. We actually have within our CDC, which is the nonprofit organization, we have a housing program that we take people through. We literally hold their hand through the home purchasing process, connecting them to realtors, connecting them to lenders, even home buyer certification programs. We also have financial wellness that we focus on with our monthly workshops, and we focus on green space development. So developing parks, healthy communities, for kids to play, laugh, breathe differently, for their mental health. We don't realize how much green space really does impact our mental health. So we have a varied approach on our real estate side. We're in community development, not necessarily just real estate development. We develop whole, healthy communities through our partnerships, et cetera. It's been very interesting because you get to, once you start on the development side, you get to see the additional barriers that businesses who look like us, business owners who look like us, have to go through even to get the capital to develop the homes. Like, there are more Black and brown developers out there than we think. A lot of their struggles is getting the money to do the development. A lot of times we can go through the acquisitions, especially with city programming, auctions, et cetera. But it's about, do you have the money on hand to redevelop this property or not? If not, a lot of people are going through hard money lenders, which aren't bad, right? They exist for a reason. Some people can go through the traditional avenues of banking, but you have to think about it. One, real estate is a risk. So a lot of banks don't want to lend, right, to rehab homes just because it's risky, unless it's going to be owner occupied. And for most developers, investors, they're not going to be owner occupied. So it's even more of a risk. But also, too, a lot of us have a lot of credit challenges, right? And when you have credit challenges, it's even harder for you to go and get capital to rehab real estate. So on the development side, you get to see a lot. And it can be tricky because you start working with your politicians. We work with local politicians to get some approvals for some acquisitions and can we build in the community, right? We have a lot of conversations with actual community members to figure out what they need, what they desire in the community. Is it going to work for the community? So there are so many different avenues of the development process that you get to see on the development side, it is a lot more challenging. However, it's a lot more rewarding where you can, come into a block to say that you developed it, right?
Yeah.
You created safe, healthy spaces for kids to grow up and play, right? It makes a difference. It's rewarding, but it's very much so difficult, just like starting any other business.
You just put me onto something I didn't even you don't what development is. You hear about developers, but getting off into that community aspect and seeing how deep it actually goes, I didn't really look that deep into it, but it just made my mind open up to certain things. And then you said about you do workshops and all that. Is this only for like the DC area, or can anybody watch these workshops?
So with our financial wellness workshops, they are typically for the communities that we're serving and anybody who's in the Baltimore area or looking to transition into the Baltimore area. However, we do have what we call a Real Dev School, so Real Estate Development Academy, where O'Hare Development Partners, our CEO and her team of experts does provide education on how to tap into community development, because what we do is still a little different from what your average developer does, right? Your average developer, these larger companies, they don't really care about what the community want. They're coming in building what they want, building whatever is going to be the most profitable to their bottom line, using the incentives and the relationships and connections and resources that they might have with the city, right? When you got a lot of money, you can wave your money, right, to get things done. But for us, on the community development side, we actually want to sit and speak to the community. Like, our community members named our park, so we're developing a park right now in the middle of the community that we're doing work in.
Wow.
And that park, was named by our community members through meetings, right? Having conversations. What do y'all want this to be called? Especially for the people who will live there, who will go out and play every day, for the parents who will sit and grill on one side, and for the kids who will be on the playground playing. It's important to us. But it's a different side of development that you have to be about the people to be successful in, as far as community development.
I love that, because you said as a developer, you're looking and like, I helped develop that. But now the people in the community get to say like, hey, we helped part of that process. We named it. We said what we needed and we got what we needed. Like, it makes a whole team effort.
Yeah.
Now, how would somebody go about getting that academy and looking at some of those courses you're talking about?
Yeah, so you can go to O'Hara Developments on Instagram, and you'll be able to see our school attached to it, the Real Dev School. And stay tuned. We just had some master classes that featured some dynamic partners in real estate. One of which is Dr. Lawrence Brown, who wrote the book The Black Butterfly.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with, Baltimore and real estate, then you understand the disparities, the housing disparities, the redlining that was, that started right in Baltimore. And he wrote this book called The Black Butterfly to really outline those areas of Baltimore, right, where it's populated with the majority of Black people, right, that go unseen, untouched, right, versus the white L in Baltimore City, of those pockets of the city that are well developed, right? They get a lot of attention,
Yeah.
a lot of money from the city, a lot of money from developers. So it's really, really, really informative. He was such a phenomenal guest to have, and a couple of other hitters in the real estate space. So go to O'Hara Developments, and you will see our school called the Real Dev School.
Don't worry, I'm also putting that in the description, because I know, for example, I want to go take a look at that, because my mind is open right now. I'm doing what you said. I'm no longer capping myself. So my mind is open, and I'm visualizing so many things. And it might be because of the Kingdom vision, like my financial thoughts, like I'm all over the place. So you're definitely going to be hearing from me, and I want to make sure we put this information in for other people to hear. But I got to ask the next one. What else does Miss Peele, Lyndsae, what other serial entrepreneurship? Because I still don't know how you have time to do one, let alone the second one combined with the two. what else is there? When, for one, when do you have time to do this? And what are the other things that you got going on?
You asked a lot of good questions, right? How, the what, the where and when, right? So I am engineering a financial tech solution for specifically for Black women in business. And we are a Web3 based firm where our mission is to onboard 1 million Black women to the metaverse by 2030. And a part of our goal is to leverage Web3 solutions to secure financial equity, opportunity, and capacity building for Black women. When we think about just how the Black dollar currently circulates, within the Black communities, only for about 6 hours
Yeah.
compared to, other communities who at least have, a day and some longer than that, right? Our goal is to create an ecosystem where we're able to hold on to our dollars much longer, but also two, where we can catalyze business to business trade again.
Yeah.
So a big part of what we're doing is providing a space with and for right Black women in business to have access to professionals that they need in business, because what I have noticed in this industry is that the majority of the problems that business owners have is access to capital, because you need money to grow and hire, you need money to expand your services, you need money to even pay for the basic functions of having a business before your business even sell its first product, because you got to have a website, you got to have the accountants, you got to have your marketing person, as you grow you need an admin, you need a technical, a tech person, right? So we are creating this space for Black women who are in business to get access to the professional tools and resources that they need, while still being able to touch four key pillars. The most important pillar is the financial impact, right? So being able to close the funding gap for Black women business owners by providing them with an accessible marketplace of tools and support that they need, because Zubachi is ultimately it's a platform, but it's also a currency. Where Black women will be using Zubachi tokens to do business with each other. So if I am a service provider and I have a Black woman who is looking to start her business and she enters into the Zubachi platform, right, and she needs me and my services, she's able to use Zubachi token to purchase my services, which taps into our second pillar, also B2B trade, right? Because we're providing tokenized capital, in a sense, businesses, they're able to circulate their capital amongst each other's with ease and speed. So, right, I mentioned earlier, I am a financial services provider, but I need marketing, right? And my marketing specialist, she needs someone in finance also
Yeah.
too, right? So we are able to barter our services also on this platform, right, to get
Wow.
what we need to grow our businesses. To at some point eliminate the hard need for a lot of capital to just get certain things done. Our third pillar is edutainment. So capacity building, ultimately we want to increase the fun, right? And incentivize education, right? Edutainment is what we're calling it now, where we're ensuring that, businesses they're able to tap into the knowledge that we and our service providers will disseminate in terms that our community, can deeply resonate with, but in fun and impactful ways. So through podcasting, through different avenues of connectivity within Web3, but heavily in the metaverse, right? And the fourth pillar, in which we are focusing on, is the gamification of all of this, right? How do we make it fun? How do
Yeah.
we help Black women to see that this is still different from doing business in person? Um, our community members, they're going to be rewarded, right, for their engagement in events, within the marketplace and the platforms and with our partners. So yes, they will be able to purchase Zubachi tokens. There will be a conversion for that to purchase it, but you will also win it for free, right? So how you're playing a game and you go into your game, and just because you join for the day, they're giving you tokens. You know, you may complete certain activities and they're giving you tokens, and those are the same tokens that you can use to play the game ultimately. Think about gamification in that way. So let's just say we are partnered with, let's just say we're partnered with the US Black Chamber, and they want to use our platform to connect with the Black women across our platform and to provide educational opportunities, workshops, etc. If you attend this workshop, you're able to also walk away with, 50 Zubachi token that you can also use to purchase services. So we're creating an all-in-one ecosystem where Black women can come and get the resources, through our partnerships who are bringing the information to us. They're also able to use our own currency, right? Think about Black women having their own currency, right? Their own way of spending and purchasing services and needs. And then being able to make it fun, to really make it fun. And when we think about the whys, because I mean, Black women, we're creating 42% of all net new businesses, started by women in the US every day. So we are the largest growing group of entrepreneurs daily, and we need, honestly, support that we have never really been able to garner, right? While we are starting the businesses the fastest, we are also getting the least amount of VC funding, right? We are also making the least amount of money in their businesses, right? The average, woman-owned business is only making about $24,000, right? That is a problem because we are very intelligent. We have the resources, but we just don't have the financial support to even get us there to be able to bring on the people and the team for us to delegate to. So we are solving multiple issues with Zubachi on top of closing the digital gap, right? We also know that in our communities, right, we are left behind technology and its advancements, right? We were late to the party with Web 1.0. We were late to the party with Web 2.0. Most people are still struggling with social media, right? And
Exactly.
we saw the need for a digital presence throughout COVID more than anything that we have ever seen before. I think that was a force to start including technology in your business.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we are helping close that gap because these Web3 conversations are happening, these metaverse conversations are happening. People are already in it, large companies are already putting money into it, but it's about us being able to also enter into this realm, very intentionally and safely, from multiple aspects, from a consumer, but also from the development space.
First off, you have me for the first time I can think of at a loss for words. That the concept is just amazing. Like you're able to come into the metaverse and you're able, because I'm big on the barter system. I don't know, maybe it's because older, maybe because traveling around the world, watching how other countries still operate on the barter system. And like for example, in Europe, like certain things are only grown or done certain times a year. When it's over, it's over. Like you got this food, I got this meat. They share, like they're still on the barter system. I love the barter system because it takes that effect of away from, oh, I'm richer than you, or you're not on my level. So it's like, okay, I got this service, you have this service. Let's utilize each other and help each other grow. So I love that. Now, one of the things, and it sucks, especially in our community, that one thing that always keeps us that one step behind and not jumping ahead and advancing is how can I make this beneficial to me? So when we're looking at, like, for example, Zubachi entering the metaverse, they're able to utilize this barter system. But one of those first things they're going to be said, everybody can't make money and spend Zubachi bucks and all that. So how do I get money out of this system so I can go spend it in my community at Walmart, Target, or give my kids extra couple dollars? How do they get that benefit of getting the money back? Or does the coins on the Zubachi bucks only work inside of the metaverse?
So Zubachi will live inside of the metaverse. That is where, ultimately you will be redeeming those tokens. But the great thing about it, right, the reason why it's still a sustainable concept is because we're providing ongoing services and needs that people have in their business for the lifetime of their business. As long as you're in business, you will always need marketing support. As long as you're in business, you will always need financial service providers, accountants, tax preparers, bookkeepers, etc. You will always need operational support. You will always need technical support. So the services that we're providing, you always need, and you pay for them anyway, right? We're
Yes.
paying for them anyway. Most people are applying for loans to be able to pay somebody to come in and develop their website, develop their branding strategy, their boards, being able to develop their marketing strategy. So it's a substitute for that element of what you're currently expending your dollars on. Now you have a place where it lives, where you're going there for your resources, and you are able to, honestly take those resources that you gain within the Zubachi world and apply them honestly outside of that. Once you meet a provider on, within our platform, yes, the goal is for you to conduct business on the platform. But I mean, we're the goal is to have millions of women on this platform, right? So we're not policing everybody and how you handle your services also outside of the platform.
I'm glad you said that, because that's the thing that I think when I asked that question, that was the takeaway I was trying to get, because we're very small, like we cap ourselves, as you said, into looking at our network. And I tell people all the time, you show me your network, I'll show you your net worth. And the thing with that is, inside of the metaverse, the system that you're creating, like as you said it, like if we're bartering this system, it's so that we can grow together. And the people that are not in the metaverse with us are going to be paying for our services. So we're working together and we're getting the funding and the payments, the money, making money on the outside. And I say that because we watch the billionaires, we watch the people at the top. But what we don't understand is, or fail to understand or recognize, is those conversations they have inside those closed doors that we're not privy to. But we're giving our money to them, making them rich, but they're utilizing the same network system that you're currently building for the community and bringing Black women in. I love it. And that's why I wanted to make sure we were clarifying that, because you're basically building the network, that closed room that the rich people sit in. You're building it within inside of the metaverse with Zubachi, while they're up there in political spaces inside of rooms making it. I love it. I love it. I don't know how you have the time to do all this, because my mind is blown. I love what. Okay, so I want to take it back right quick, because everybody, I want them to get what you're doing. When you started out, you said inside of that purpose-driven financial world, and most people, when we hear finance, you think, I don't want to be a banker, I don't want to be an accountant. But I try to explain to people there's so many ways your purpose can work. And for you, every single part of your purpose is about helping people back, but you found another way to utilize finance and speaking. You brought two things together that most people wouldn't think about, and you're utilizing it across 3 different business ventures that are helping others and making the world a better place, especially in the Black and brown communities. So for one, before I move forward, we want to give you flowers and tell you thank you for that, because the things that you're doing is mind-blowing. But now I have to ask, because the metaverse thing is so huge. Where are you at in the stage? Because you said you wanted 1 million by 2030. Mm-hmm. So where are you at in the stage of what it takes to get it off the ground? When will it get off the ground? What else is needed? How can people tap in and reach out to you to become a part of it? Like, what is all there? Where are we at right now with that part of Zubachi?
Thank you for asking. So one, you can keep up with our journey by going to our website, zubachi.com, and Zubachi is spelled Zubachee. It'll give you an opportunity to subscribe to our newsletters. And our newsletters is where we will provide information to our followers, our Zubachi family, with how we're growing. So we just started officially, at the end of last year. So we're still very much on the infancy stages. So right now we're working on developing the layout for our app. So we're looking to develop a beta version of the app by the end of this year that will allow us to integrate right into the crypto space, to allow people to learn about crypto wallets and to use their wallets to ultimately purchase Zubachi NFTs. Now, we are currently actually looking for a CTO, to really help us to build out the plan. I know what the people need, right, from working with the people on the ground. But when certain things aren't necessarily your zone of genius, you need partners. You need
Yeah.
people who work within certain areas. So we're looking for a CTO to develop our app. But beyond the app part, right, we're looking to create a whole world inside of the metaverse. So being able to go to Zubachi land, the land of plenty, and you're able to go through Lawyer Row and see, some attorney service providers, or you're able to go to Bankers Row and to see the bankers who sponsor us. So those are, some of the long-term things that we're working on, but our app is our first priority. Our app is going to provide almost a similar feeling as, I hate saying Fiverr as a comparison, but it's the easiest thing for people to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah.
Where we will have, Black women who are service providers there, and Black women who are in business, starting businesses, expanding in business. They're able to go and to find providers all over the world. That is also a benefit, right? Zubachi is global, so my partner who we started with is in Kenya, right? So having conversations with people, on the motherland, and being able to have a presence there allows us to continue to really stretch our arms beyond what we can see and think right now in this moment. So we actually just went through a crowd lending raise with Kiva. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with Kiva, but Kiva is a crowd lending company where you raise money, right, from people all over the world to support your projects. But it's not free money; it's a loan, right? It's just a 0% interest loan,
Okay.
which is amazing, right? Because it's very rare that you find 0% interest anything.
Exactly.
So we just, raised a little under $10,000 for the project. So we will actually, now that we have additional funding, right? Because we know bootstrapping, it gets very difficult when you're just taking just from your pockets, your savings, your investments, right? So because I'm in finance, I also understand the need to get in on certain things sooner than later.
Yeah.
Before you run into a lot of debt, go ahead and get the money first.
Yeah.
So we literally just got funded. They just awarded us this week actually our funding information. Thank you. So we'll be using our funds to be able to grow, to establish our app, to start building a community as well. So we are building and developing a Discord community where we can communicate with people who are, interested in this space, creating, sub networking groups almost, where we have service providers who are there engaging, but also business owners who have needs from the service providers to engage as well. So we're doing a lot, trying to figure it all out, right? And I'm blessed to have a phenomenal team, and I cannot have this conversation without mentioning Ernest, who has been such a key player in making all of this happen for us. So super thankful for him, super grateful. We are building, and we are very excited.
Man, I gotta agree. Ernest is one of those as well. I don't know how he finds, like, I don't know how you find the time to do all these amazing things. And it brings me to that point where I have to ask this question. Don't worry, I ask everybody that comes on here this question because of what you just said. Of giving that, like, showing that teamwork, knowing that network. So for somebody that's out there listening, and they hear all the amazing things that you're doing, what's that one piece of advice or motivation to help them not only know how to find that team, that the people around them, to help them get to those different places, but utilizing their passion, their purpose to find the time to do all these things to help support other people?
There are a lot of things I could say, but one key thing in particular is to remain connected to your higher power. And we all believe in different things, right? Depending on what part of the world you're from, that you grew up in, what you were exposed to. If you are, a Christian, or if you believe in God, connect to your higher power. If you believe in, the ancestors, the universe, all the good stuff, right? Connect to your higher power, because there has to be some type of connectivity, right, between your higher power and you, because we were not designed to do life on our own, right? We were not fully equipped to do it by ourselves without a power source. So you need a power source to help spiritually guide you down the direction that you need to go, right? It's about levels of intuitiveness. It's about being spiritually connected, so you know what you feel, what you see, and when opportunities present themselves, you can decipher whether it's good or is it bad. It's just a part of the direction that I should be going or not. As human beings, right? Just as regular human beings being detached spiritually, um we're naturally susceptible to evil, to fear, to just worldly things. And when you are an entrepreneur, you are already a creator of solutions, right?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs develop solutions that people in the world are going through, and some people just never have the courage to try to identify a solution for themselves. So because you are already in a position that creates change in the world, you can't be out here moving blindly, right? You have to be connected to something, right? Something, someone, something, right? So I'm heavy on that. I'm a very spiritual woman, and it's not even always about organized religion. It's about the spiritual connectedness that you feel, that you sense, and that you nourish and develop, so that you can be equipped with the informations, the guidance, the tools, the protections, to get you where you're trying to go. You're not going to develop your purpose alone. It just doesn't work that way.
Ooh, I agree 1000%. Because I'm one of those individuals. I live by those 5 pillars: family, fitness, freedom, finances, and that one left, faith. Like, and I tell people all the time, like, that faith one is important, because like you said, it's not like, I'm not saying one religion or one thing is better than the other. It's just that belief that higher power, because you don't, like you said, you don't do these things yourself. It just so happened that, based off my background growing up, I refer to my faith as God, Jesus Christ. Like, everybody has theirs. I'm not knocking. I'm not saying who's more right, who's wrong. I don't believe in that. I just believe in that higher power, and I just have a name for mine. So I'm big on the faith. So no, everything you just said is truly 1000% correct. And it shows just on the blessings that keep coming for you, and the amazing things that's happening in your life. And me personally, I wish nothing but more blessings as you continue to unfold these endeavors that are helping other people. Everything that you're doing is amazing. I'm definitely going to be one of those people reaching out to you, especially when it comes to this trust and will thing. Like, you find so many people that's talking about it, but it's only so many people you can trust. So I would definitely, I know for myself, don't worry, everybody, I'm going to make sure all of Lyndsae's information gets put in the description. But no, before I even move on and let you go, I have to say, on behalf of everybody that's tuning in, we want to say thank you for not just spreading wisdom, but letting us into your life, taking this time out of your busy life just to teach us something that many of us, including myself, had no clue about. So we want to say thank you for that.
Thank you. No, I appreciate the opportunity to really be here to pour into your audience in any way I can. Listen, you ever need me back, I'm always, always, always welcome. I'm just grateful for the opportunity. So thank you. Thank you to your team for making this possible.
Now, definitely, we're going to bring you back, because I just want to know what's going to be happening as time goes on, especially with Zubachi. But we're definitely bringing you back. But before we let you go, just remember, I want you to stay with me a few minutes after the show. I want to talk to you about something. So don't go too far. But again, thank you, Lyndsae, for everything, and we will see you on the other side.
Thank you so much. You all have an amazing evening.
Thank you. Man, I don't know about you all, but I've learned so much tonight. My mind is over here. For one, it's uncapped. I don't believe in capping yourself, but I believe in certain aspects of life, we all cap ourselves unknowingly. Like, some of the things that Lyndsae has opened my mind up to tonight, it's just got me thinking outside the box, eliminated box, all that. I'm going to definitely be reaching out. And if I was you, I would be reaching out to her as well, because she gave us so much knowledge and so many opportunities for people of Black and brown people, people of color. Like, I love what she's doing. I love what her team is doing. And she has once again shown you that your network does determine your net worth. So if you don't have the right people around you, make sure you get the right people in your life. And the only way you can do that is first by living in your purpose. And that's the whole reason for this podcast, because we want to help you live in your purpose, with purpose, on purpose, because that's the only way you're going to get ahead in life. Now, thank you again for tuning in. Can't wait to bring you the guest for next week, because it's going to be another amazing individual. But until then, I want you to be great. Have a great rest of your week, great weekend until next week. And as always, like we say all the time, remember to live in your purpose, with purpose, on purpose. Love y'all. See y'all next week.
I'm back.
Every time I walk out that door, every time I interact with anybody new, my purpose is to help change.
It's time to celebrate life. If you know that you're in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know you want better for your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you have what it takes to be in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you are not just trying to be good for you, but for those around you, it's time to stand up. As a matter of fact, look to the person to your left and tell them you are enough.
I want to help you change, and just like you change, every time I interact with somebody, they help me change. It's no different than if I met an individual and they had 4 quarters and if they needed change, or if I had $1 and they had 4 quarters, I need to change. We can swap the money. The value is still the same. They still got $1, I still got $1, but we both exchanged something, and it was a change for both of us. So every time I walk out that door, I inspire to help change lives just as much as lives have changed me.
Y'all been listening to the wrong people, watching the wrong things all your life, and it's time to put to rest all those negative thoughts, because you are enough. It's time to put to rest that self-doubt, because you are enough. It is time to get rid of that negative energy, because you are enough. It is time to stop listening to people that don't have the best interests of you in your life, because you are enough. So let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to understand that you are the person that's in charge of your life. Everything that you have inside of you to be who you're supposed to be in life. You have a destiny, and that destiny can only be accomplished through you, by you, and only you, with the help of God. When you realize that you are the person you are, because you're not a carbon copy, there's only one you. They try to put you in a box. Society tries to put you in a box, but you can't be in a box. How can you be in a box when there's only one you? But then they tell you, think outside the box. What I'm trying to get you to understand is there is no box.
I want to pass on the things that I have to the generations behind me. By the time it's time for me to get called home and go to the grave, I want to be empty. I believe in bankrupting the cemetery, so I can't take this knowledge with me, because the cemetery is already full of brilliant ideas and unwritten books and innovative ideas. I can't take this with me, so I'm trying to leave it all here as Billy Graham Jr. to the next generation so somebody else can carry it on.